Morning, it's Simon. Ever wonder what type of coach you are? Well, I'm going to give you the skipping rope test. The skipping rope test is you put 10 skipping ropes on the floor the next time you're in practice and you watch what happens with the kids. So one kid, at least one kid, will naturally start playing and is curious. They'll skip left, they'll skip right, they'll go forwards, they'll go backwards. They're just going to play. Maybe 3 or 4 of the kids will pick up the skipping ropes, play a little bit, fail a little bit, ultimately get a bit bored and do something else. And the rest of the group, well, they don't even know they're skipping ropes on the floor. So which group are you naturally going to gravitate towards, I wonder? Now, the task is to skip. The skill is jumping and landing, which is a fundamental movement skill. And the environment, well, this particular instance, you've left it open and the kids can explore. You haven't given them any direction. One of the alternatives is next week you say, right, we're skipping. Get yourselves a skipping rope, 10 minutes of homework every day, 10 minutes before we start practice, we skip. And inevitably, you'll get kids who are relatively competent at skipping. They'll stick with it for a while. Some will stick at it better than others, but ultimately you'll get some level of competency amongst the kids. Now, what would happen if you put those skipping ropes down on the floor 4 or 5 weeks later and said nothing? How many more kids would pick up the skipping ropes? Maybe a few more. There's another alternative that we could take, which is you ignore skipping, it's a task, and you give them other tasks. So you give them hopscotch, maybe go to play in a forest, jump a creek, vault a little log, play around, follow my lead, any sort of games to explore. So you keep the environment open again, and you put the skipping ropes down in 4 or 5 weeks' time, and maybe you got 3 or 4 more kids who are interested in exploring. You've still got loads of kids who are not that interested. But what's interesting in my experience is that sports coaches gravitate towards the curious kid. I've got one of those kids in my house, and they'll try and recruit that kid into the program. But in the open environment that you created, where you decided that different tasks to teach the same skill, maybe in 4 or 5 weeks' time, you've got 3 or 4 of those kids now that you wanted, that initially, because there's 3 or 4 more now who've just got a bit more confidence, they understand what's going on, and they're now ready to explore. So the idea of the skipping rope test is looking at the task, looking at the skills, and looking at the environment you're creating, where you naturally gravitate to. And the question here is, what do these kids need? Now, you might worry about the last group, the kids who haven't done anything, they're not that interested. But actually, what you've done in that open environment is you've given them loads of tasks anyway. And it just might happen that that particular task, the skipping, is just not for them. They're not interested. But you have given them loads of different movement options. So the next time that you're coaching, have a think about the skipping rope test, have a think about the different types of kids that you're going to encounter, what they need, and who you are showing up as a coach. Are you gravitating towards the kid who's curious? Are you gravitating towards an environment of play? Or are you gravitating towards compliance and teaching those kids some level of competency? I hope that explains coaching environments and the idea of keeping an environment closed or open, and that skills, tasks, and environments can shape how we develop and deliver our training sessions. Thank you.